What's up, freaks, beasts, and athletes? It's DC here with Genesis Strength TV. Just headed back from the airport where I dropped off one of my friends, Chris Reed, that I talked about in the my training post from this past week. He was actually lived in the gym for 2 weeks. He slept in the athlete's lounge on the couch and really did helped kind of me with mobility. We bounced ideas off each other in terms of training athletes, systemizing, training templates, ideas. He taught a ton of kettlebell work and kettlebell sport training and all sorts of different types of strength and conditioning stuff. And it was a great help in terms of changing things at the facility to make our athletes and better, and then provide kind of you guys with even better information to make your training even better. One of the things that wanted to film, because I was talking about it with him and then I had a few questions regarding it, was about how we use sandbag training for our athletes when it's appropriate, when we, what exercises we do with it, how we utilize it in terms of the training programs. And really, we use that. The sandbag is one of the first things that our athletes learn to use when they are dealing with an external object or external weight in their training. It is a ton more safer than something like a barbell or even a dumbbell or a kettlebell, depending on what the movement is. And more importantly, it teaches them how to be powerful with odd objects that are always constantly shifting weight and getting moving around and causing them to work harder, even though it's the same weight. 95 pounds on a barbell feels a ton lighter than a 95 or 100 pound sandbag, even though it's the same weight, just because it's so much denser. The weight is more compact and the weight is constantly moving as you're trying to generate force with that weight and produce and complete that rep. And because of that, that is one of the first things that we introduce our athletes to, especially our younger ones, so we can teach them the correct movements and they can learn how to be powerful with them, even in like a 35-pound bag, 45-pound bag, to where they're moving heavier barbells once they get on it, even though they've never really touched that in a sandbag. But in terms of when we use them outside of that, the one thing that really nobody, a lot of people get hung up on is what exercises are good with what implements and what's programs and sets and reps. And that's kind of the opposite way to think about it. The best way to think about it is, what is that workout that you're doing that day or that program that you are following? What are its goals and what are the movements that you want to get better at? Do you want to get better at pushing, pulling, squatting, hinging, planking, stuff like that? Dan John has, I believe it's 8 basic movements that I just listed off a few that he says, every workout should incorporate the majority of these movements into it. And that's kind of what we try to follow as well. And by doing that, now it's not so much as what object, when to use a certain object. It's when do you, if you're doing a movement, then keep that movement fresh and varied and swap in and out different objects and implements. So if you've been barbell squatting, then stop barbell squatting and start squatting with sandbags. Squat with it on your right shoulder, squat with it on your left, Zercher squat it, throw it over your back squat it. There's a bunch of different variations. You're still squatting, you're still getting the benefits that you would get barbell or not, and then switch back to a barbell, switch back to kettlebell squats, switch over to something else. And it's just keeping that variation in terms of but keeping the movements the same as what's going to produce the best results in terms of your training. Give you variations so you still enjoy it, but still progress and make sure that you're always you're constantly being challenged and able to progress and tackle different variations of movement. So it's not so much when you're going to use that sandbag, what exercises, what part of the program. It is swap it out, swap kettlebells, dumbbells, barbells, sandbags, Bulgarian bags, any of that stuff out with each other during movements, and that's going to be the best, give you the best bang for your buck. Work with one for a few weeks, couple of months, switch to the next variation, and that is really the best way, and how we really use it at the facility. I don't think we don't have a set of exercises that we use a sandbag for. We have a set of movements that a sandbag can be part of, that can be a variation of, and so that is how we plug it in, that I've learned really gets the best results and is able to accomplish the most in terms of carryover onto the field or on into other people's aspects of training. So make sure, swap stuff in and out. Don't worry about specific exercises, just get creative, and always keep a list of really what works and what benefited you. And if you want to learn kind of how we do this in hands-on, and how we make the adjustments and figure out what's going to work and tweak and adjust stuff depending on each athlete and ourselves, then make sure you click the link below to sign up for the over-the-top seminar that I'm hosting with my man Chandler from Swole Patrol or Go Elite SC. It's June 23rd down at the Genesis Athletic facility. So click that link, and if you haven't picked up your football training cheat sheet manual, click that link below, sign up, and I will get that out to you as soon as possible. So let me know if you have any questions. If that doesn't make sense, I will do my best to explain it, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.